We begin with an announcement on sanctions unveiled today by the Biden administration, and it deals directly with trying to curtail the fentanyl epidemic. The Treasury Department announcing it's targeting those involved in helping produce the synthetic opioid, including businesses and people in both China and Mexico. Now, the specific focus here is on the machines that are used to label drugs. People are buying what they think is one product, but it's actually something much more potent. The rise of fentanyl, as you know, which often enters the United States through Mexico and China, has become a major problem. According to the CDC, more than 72,000 people died from synthetic fentanyl overdoses in 2022. In the past 7 months alone, 17,200 pounds of fentanyl has been seized. Now, for some context here, that's more than 3.5 times the amount than what was seized in 2019. Joining me now is Brian Nelson. He is the Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence at the Department of Treasury. Brian, thanks for joining us here on News Nation. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us, what were the sanctions that you unveiled today, and sort of where does this fit into the grand scheme of everything?
Yeah, as you noted, the death of so many Americans as a result of this horrible drug, fentanyl, as well as other synthetic opioids, is a true whole-of-government priority of the Biden administration. So from the Treasury Department's perspective, we've looked at the tools that we have to do a couple of things. One, identify the financial networks that support the illicit traffic of these drugs. Two, to ensure that we can target through our sanctions authorities and others those that are either members of the drug trafficking organization, the drug trafficking organization themselves, as well as the money launderers, the producers of the precursor drugs that go into these synthetic opioids and fentanyl specifically, and then as represented today, the supply, the machinery that is necessary to produce these drugs. So today we designated with our partners in the government of Mexico a number of actors that supply the, as you noted, the pill presses and sorry for the background noise there.
Yeah, no worries. I've been there a bunch, and it's hard when you got trucks behind you. But specifically here, what we're talking about is sort of those pill presses, as you mentioned. So someone gets a drug, they think it might be Xanax, but it's actually not, for example, or whatever that drug might be, and it's something potentially deadly, right? Isn't that what you're going after here?
Exactly.
Or laced with fentanyl, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we've identified 17 entities and people both in China and in Mexico that support the production of these pill presses, which themselves are a controlled good, and have designated those because what we see is, given how potent these drugs are, as you noted, is can either make a person either very sick or kill them, even just with one pill. And then second, I think what we see is they're often using sort of illicit commercial trade routes. And that's a negative in the sense that there's more opportunity to move this stuff, but it's a positive because we can really get after the suppliers and the infrastructure that the drug trafficking organizations are using to move this illicit drug.
Yeah, before we go, the individuals and the businesses today that were targeted are in China and Mexico. Their governments, correct, the Chinese government, the Mexican government, are they helping out on this front at all, as you see it from where you sit inside the Treasury Department?
You know, we're constantly engaging the Chinese government about how we can more proactively get after this problem. And as is evidenced by our action today, we did this in partnership with the government of Mexico, going after the Mexican entities.
All right. Brian Nelson, over at the Treasury Department. Thanks for talking about this, of course, an important topic we've been following here on News Nation for quite some time. Brian, thanks so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.